Welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. We welcome back the coach, Neil Geddes himself, back into the refinery to open up a can of rabbit holes. I did have a bit of a plan to do an extended intro on this one because I thought there was some stuff we didn't cover, and however the problem is the rabbit holes and the fight clubs are endless. So I thought what I would do is just not do that. Okay, there's always more to say, there's always things to talk about. I think a can of rabbit holes may be maybe an ongoing theme in 2024. When last we spoke, I said I wasn't too sure what I was going to do with the show. At this point, we're going to continue. Bit of time of reflection and understanding what my true purpose of doing the show actually is. We're going to keep going either way. So I don't know how regular they're going to be. However, just keep an eye on your feeds. UTC's not going anywhere. Like I said, a can of rabbit holes. There's so much to talk about. I mean, I'm not too sure who had 10-foot tall shadow beings in Miami on the bingo card, but the thing about the rabbit holes is they never end. So let's just get into this one. Had a lot of fun with this, discussing the total darkness that surrounds us all at the moment. If you don't laugh, what else are you going to do? Look, I think Richmond, north of Richmond, we'll just let that one roll. And it's good to be back. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Continue to prepare in whichever way you can. Fortify, engage discipline, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, don't the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north of rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Brother,
Brother.
how are you, mate?
Mate, I am fantastic.
It's been a little while since we've been behind the mics. We talk most weeks, really, over messages, but it's been a little while since you've sat down in the refinery, and we're going to explore a can of rabbit holes.
We're going to open a can of
We're
rabbit
going to
holes.
open a can of rabbit holes, man.
You should trademark that. Trademark it before somebody else does.
Yeah.
A can of rabbit holes.
A can of rabbit holes. So, man, how's the last few years been? It's good, eh?
A lot of lessons, bro.
A lot of lessons?
Nothing
Nothing much has happened, though. I wouldn't... Pretty quiet.
It's been a quiet couple of years.
So it's interesting. Where do we start? I wanted to ask you, because you weren't always, it needs to be, in the post that we put out to social media, we didn't acknowledge that we've been wearing tinfoil hats for a little while. And it was a weird experience. They're off now because we started to...
They got really hot.
They got really hot over there. I don't know what we were doing to our brains, but...
Most people would argue that we're already cooked, so...
Yeah, well, that's true. The evidence may be there for that. However, where are you on that, man? You weren't always down the rabbit hole, were you? Did COVID really deep dive you, or where were you?
I think my rabbit hole started a bit before COVID.
Yeah. Would you say about 2014, just out of curiosity?
No, it's 2014. I was down a black hole. That's when I was like. That's when I was really battling my mental health and
didn't
every
mean
other
to
thing.
pick a year like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done, mate. Yeah,
thanks, Triff.
Thanks for taking
Thanks
me
for
back.
bringing that back up. My whole day's ruined.
Well, it's
No,
not. That's the whole point.
It's not at all, brother. I'm very comfortable talking about my past now. But for me, so I started really getting into. I would say that men's work was the beginning of spirituality, and then spirituality was the beginning of the rabbit hole. So for me, it was probably 2017.
Yeah, right. Because so through that path that you went on through that, it's like your mind was opened. So therefore, when your mind is open, you're open to more possibilities, and then you just start to see that things start. There's a picture. That is.
Actually, the exact point it started for me?
Yeah.
The night I almost killed myself.
Really?
When I got through that and realised that I couldn't do it and I didn't want to do it, I wanted to live. So that was the very, very beginning.
So that's your bottom.
That was my absolute rock bottom. And it was after that when I had the epiphany that, like, I actually... Because I'd spent so long, I want to die. I'm ready to die. I hate life. I was just a miserable human being.
Yeah.
And I'd been in suicidal ideation for... years. By that point, years. I was self-harming. I was like way down. And then when I backpedaled at the absolute last second, there was an epiphany that I don't want to die.
Yeah. I want to live.
I want to live, yeah. And that was the very beginning, but it was a very slow... So that happened in... You're pretty close, actually. So that would have been about 2016.
Yeah, right.
About 2016. So
well, I nearly died with the jungle virus out of Papua New Guinea 2013. And that was basically,
That was your beginning?
Yeah. Well, no, man. I got pyramid and alien books to go back to when I was 10 years old, dude.
You were born in the rabbit
I
hole.
was born in the... You were merely visiting. I am born here.
This is my place. You're just visiting.
Yeah, we're not in here together, man. You're in here with me. No, it's okay. Yeah, man. But I think the last few years, I mean, if you think about it, let's approach it from here we go. Let's approach it from a mental health perspective, because I don't think that anyone's dealt with the trauma of the last few years, because it's still going on.
Most people would argue there is no trauma.
Yeah, there is nothing.
There is nothing happened.
Yeah. Nothing went. It's been pretty quiet, really. I mean,
nothing happened and nobody did
anything. Yeah,
since
and
2019.
nobody's dying. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, man. I don't know. Where do you want to start, dude? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start? Where would you like to open? Which rabbit hole would you like to open
first? Correct me if I'm wrong,
sir?
Did you not say that you have a plethora of rabbit holes to throw at me? What about if you grab one of those rabbit holes, just chuck it at me, and we'll see what sticks?
What did you observe? What were your thoughts as an ex-soldier for the Australian Army? Thank you for your service, brother. I know you did your time. And I do really mean that.
No, I know.
I do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. When you saw the police of this country opening fire on their citizens for trying to breathe in the streets.
Oofed. Man, probably the last...
When they were at the Shrine of Remembrance and they faked them and then rushed them.
I'll say this much. I haven't done an Anzac Day in quite a few years now. I have zero interest, and I know that's like... It triggers me. I don't want to be a part of it. And there was a very specific Anzac Day where I kind of gave up. It was the most left-wing day I'd ever seen in my life. It wasn't even about remembrance. It wasn't about fallen soldiers. It was about minorities. They turned the entire day into a day of minorities.
Right.
And during the minute silence, I watched... it's not Peter Dutton. It's one of the other Muppets council members around here high up. Can't remember which one it was, but... He was checking messages on his phone during the minute silence.
You told me that. That's since
There was shade set up, so they had like big awnings and shade set up for. I would have assumed it was for the veterans, like the older gentlemen.
You would think so.
So they were standing in the sun, passing out, and all the pollies and politicians were in the shade, and it was a stinking hot day. That was my last Anzac Day. I never did another one after that. But how do I feel? So the short answer to that is all wars, absolutely every war you can ever think of, ever in recent history, is rich white men getting richer and grabbing power. That's it. Yeah. Whatever you've heard, whatever you think you've heard, whether it's religious, whether it's chasing oil, whether it's any of it, whatever the stories that you've read about the war, it was rich white men getting richer, and I believe that to my very core. Do I regret my service? No, because I'm in a really awesome place in my life right now.
No, and you did it for different reasons.
And I had to go through what I went through to become the man that I am now.
Absolutely.
And I'm very, very grateful for the man that I am now. And I can't be grateful for being who I am now without acknowledging the path that I took here. So I don't regret it, but I also look back now and I feel sadness. More than anything, I feel sadness because I think of the number of men that I know who have either died overseas or took their own lives when they come home.
Yeah.
And, we're given this story. It's about this, it's about that, it's about brotherhood, it's about the man next to you, it's about your country, God, Queen, whatever it is. It's about rich white men getting richer.
It's about the global cabal playing their chess moves, man.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing,
right?
But, I mean... Yeah, when I watched the Victorian police open fire on Victoria, I mean, I grew up in Victoria, man, right? Yep. I'm originally from Ballarat. I was in Ballarat from...
that explains a lot, actually.
Oh, it does? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. But I'm from everywhere after that. And I'll never be able to unsee that.
Yep.
And I don't think my trust for the police in general is...
I still respect police as individuals.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're still human beings.
They're still human beings, and they're choosing to do that job.
I wouldn't wish their job on.
Absolutely,
I wouldn't wish their job on anyone.
Oh, and by the way, they can't get anybody. No one wants to join and be a police officer after COVID. Right. After COVID, recruiting numbers and no one's got injuries from anything. In the police force, no one's dropped dead in the police force.
Yeah. I respect individual police officers. I think they've got a shit job, especially with the state that the world's in at the moment.
Yeah,
so as an individual, it's like anything. As an individual, I respect them as human beings, and I respect they're doing a hard job. As a collective, there's some bad shit going down. There's some shit that needs to be sorted out.
Yeah. I mean, and that. So maybe we shifted to the overreach of authority during the COVID times.
Buckle up.
Right? I mean, how can you... I mean, seriously, let's not forget that people were thrown to the ground in handcuffs for not wearing a mask and marched away and had a mask forced upon them.
Have I shared my own COVID experiences with you? Because obviously
we have.
I'm unvaxxed. I never wore a mask.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
At the end of the day, look, that's my choice. I don't want to argue with anybody. People make their own choices. Everybody makes their own and I respect everybody for making their own choices. My choice was...
Then I'll do it.
I didn't think there was enough research at the time. I chose not to do it, and I'm very,
very
glad
grateful
that I did now. But at the time, man, I was... Once again, at the time, it was horrible, but it taught me a lot about the world we live in and a lot about segregation.
Absolutely.
So I look at what Black Americans went through, what Indigenous Australians went through, and I 100% have sympathy and anger for what was done to them, because I had to say, for example, I was at a hotel and I ordered some food from the restaurant downstairs. It was a restaurant. I was at a hotel down on the Gold Coast.
Was this 2021?
This was during the peak of it.
Oh.
It would have been 2020 or 2021. And I ordered some food from the restaurant downstairs, and I went downstairs, and there was a security guard out the front, and he asked for my green tick. I told him, don't have one, not vaccinated. He goes, right, mate, you'll need to wait for your food over there. And there was an area that had been marked off with a big sign above it that had unvaccinated waiting area.
Yeah.
But they put it right in front of the restaurant where everybody could see, so it was put on show.
Yep.
So I stood there for 10, 15 minutes waiting for my food while the whole restaurant, and they were all wearing masks. They'd like take their mask down.
Yeah, to eat and then put their mask back up.
And I was like, that's a whole other story. My mind was blown, but
yeah,
they just sat there watching me like I was an animal in a zoo, and you could see them like leaning in and talking to each other and like looking back at me, and I was like, so that was just like one experience. I felt like I was almost lynched in a service station, and I had my kids with me for not wearing a mask. I walked in to pay, and one dude turned, and I won't repeat what he said, but it was just a hailstorm of F's and C's, and I was a murderer, irresponsible, and I've got my kids behind me, and this dude wasn't talking, he was yelling at me.
Yeah.
And then there was maybe 4 or 5 other people in the service station. They all turned on us. Whole service station, so like 5 or 6 people all up, and it was like men and women, and we were just copping abuse from 5, 6 people in a service station.
Yeah.
And I just like tapped, walked out and got in the car. The kids were like, fucking, they were crying. They're like, what just happened? And I'm like, so yeah, that's, and that's just, I've got multiple stories like that. We could sit here for another hour, but that was my COVID experience. So,
and see, the thing is, and look, I must say, I do respect.
People were scared.
Yes.
Like, you got to remember, people were scared. Like,
but
I'm not angry about it.
I was for a little while.
I was for a very long time. But in the end, everybody's on their own journeys. They're on their journey.
It is now.
And they were scared. But it showed me
what people are capable of.
What happens if you don't toe the party line.
Yeah.
To be on the other side of the narrative. That's what it taught me.
Yeah. Yeah, and the second line of the poem is, I look around me at the people I see, and I can't help but wonder who would have hung me from a tree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you walk around, because I'm the same, I was comical about it. I wore my, I've got like a downhill mountain biking helmet, right? Which prior to COVID, if I'd have worn that into anywhere, I would have been tackled to the ground for wearing a helmet. Right? I wore it to Woolworths, man.
There you go.
And no one batted an eyelid, man.
So we were talking about Dan Fitz before. So Dan, if you're listening, bro, you're about to get a shout out. So, and I know he'd be very comfortable with me sharing this because he's Dan Fitz. I love you, bro. He tested that theory with a skull mask, like a bikie skull mask, full face. Yeah. And he walked into like banks and stuff with it. Yeah. And nobody told him to took it off. He's like, I could rob this place right now, but people are more concerned that I'll breathe on them.
Yeah, exactly, man.
He literally was walking into banks
and
shops and
here's a postulation. Did robberies go up during COVID because no one could see anybody, or do you think everyone was too scared?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. And I don't want to. I don't like to like. I only like to share what's true for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without numbers.
I was just postulating. I was just postulating.
It probably went down because everybody was. I think certain crimes would have gone down.
Like home invasions, because
but other crimes would have gone up because of lockdown. So I think a lot of and I'm just assuming here, I think there would have been a lot of drug-related crimes in local areas and a lot of domestic violence from people going mental, being locked up.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think actual like armed robberies and all that, maybe more break-ins than armed robberies because everybody was locked up. I don't know.
So, I mean, here's something that would have got us kicked off YouTube a little while ago, because I think everything rolls into what we now understand was, and undeniably so, mass formation psychosis.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, you didn't say that. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're one of them.
You're one of them.
One of them. Yeah.
No. The people that are listening are one of us. One of us.
And we love you.
And we do. We do love you. And the thing is, man, now, I look back on it now, and it's like everyone made their decision. However, some people are paying more than they thought they were going to pay.
Correct.
And what's your take on the mass formation psychosis? Because, I mean, the authority goes into that, because obviously the state told the police to do what they did to enforce those mandates, right? You know, let's just run through some of the crazy stuff, right? Remember, you could get a sausage down at Bunnings and a needle if you needed to.
Yeah. You could get jabbed for a donut.
Yeah.
So that as well, get a free donut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope it was worth it.
And in the lines at Bunnings, people were dropping in the lines.
I saw the footage, yep.
Yeah, after. And people were still lining up and doing that. And as an objective observer, look, do you know, for me, right, it came as soon as a politician stood up and said, we're going to get to 0 cases.
It's not possible.
It's not possible, man. I'm in safety, right? There is no 0.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't matter what you feel.
When was the last time there was 0 cases of the flu?
Anything.
Actually, probably 2020.
Yeah, 2020, there was 0 cases of the flu, man. No one got it in 20. It's amazing.
Excluding,
and 2021. In 2021 as well.
Those years, nobody's ever had a 0 count.
That's right, exactly. Excluding 2020, 21, when the flu just
You know what the funny thing is? It's like we're joking about it, but it's like actually a thing.
It's exactly. You look up the stats, man. There was no flu cases, barely any in 2020, 2021. That's actually that's a true statistic.
We digress. The question was mass formation psychosis.
Because
right?
everybody, because if you take your experiences, if I take my experiences that I had down here, I got kicked out of a supplement shop, dude, for not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
A health supplement shop, right?
Yep.
And I said to the dude, I'm like, number one, I'd been shopping at that shop for years. That is where I went and got my supplements. Okay, my protein powders, all my gear. I used to
beard
get
wax.
from there.
Do you get beard wax from there?
No, my beard it's natural, bro. It's just natural. No, beard wax is weird, man. Like I don't know about the whole beard wax.
Don't get distracted.
No,
Truth.
don't digress.
Don't go down a beard wax rabbit hole.
I've tried a couple of beard waxes and I don't get it. However, in the supplement shop, right? I walked in there to get some supplements, and this dude says, "You're gonna wear a mask?" And I said, "No, I'm not." He goes, "We got to get out." I said, "Dude, the very things in this shop is what can actually not prevent you from getting any cold or flu with the vitamins and the protein. You know what I mean? Everything in that."
Was he wearing a mask?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you then say to him, "Are you wearing a mask? Is your mask effective?"
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And just keep doing what you're doing.
That's right. He's a big nugget, you know what I mean? And we had a screaming match. I'm like, dude, I'm in a health shop. I'm here to buy vitamins to help me stay healthy so I don't get the beer virus, right? And yeah, I never went back. I've never gone back to that supplement shop. I'll never go back there again.
Yep.
Never.
Good.
Yeah. But it's like the mass formation psychosis encapsulated not only the country but the world, man. Like they really, the thing is it's quite impressive, and you sort of got to give them their due. It's quite impressive if it wasn't so terrifying. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't so terrifying.
I actually think I'm in a very unique position with mass formation psychosis, because if COVID had happened while I was in the army and I was who I used to be, because I wasn't a very nice guy, and we've spoken at length about the reasons I was who I was and the stuff that in the way I was.
Yeah, Neil's been on a couple of episodes. Look in the back catalogue. We've discussed some stuff.
I was for lack of a better term, I was a horrible person.
Yeah.
I was a very, very horrible person, and I look back now and I'm grateful for being that person because it taught me so much about getting to who I am now. But at the time, I was a horrible person. Now, if we look at that through the lens of mass formation psychosis. Mm-hmm. If I was in a battalion and the boss said, "Hey, look, there's all these dickhead protesters out here, all these hippie anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
We're going to go and round them up, and you can rough them up a little bit, throw them to the ground, cuff them up if anybody gives you any lip."
Yeah.
I would have been all over it. Loved it. Shit, yeah, let's get amongst it.
Yeah.
So that's who I was at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. And that's the
thing.
But
I wasn't that person when COVID came around.
No.
And I was looking at it through a very different lens. I'd started doing my men's work. I was on a spiritual journey. I'd started, done some plant medicine. I'd started going down the spiritual rabbit hole and the men's work rabbit hole. So I was viewing it through a very different lens. So I think that, and I'd have to fact check this, but I believe the statistics are something like 33, 33, 33. 33% will blindly follow mass formation. 33% will challenge it. And 33% will sit on the fence. It's almost, you have to fact check it. But I believe that's roughly the statistics.
Yeah.
If I'm right, are you doing a Google now?
No.
Fact check me.
No, it's all right. Keep going.
But either way, I think it has to do with the lens that you view life through at the time that the event happens.
Yes.
So let's face it.
It does it because
people are already zombies. NCPs already.
That's and non-player. I think the thing is though, man, is that. What I found difficult about the mass formation psychosis is a lot of the people that did you notice that a lot of the people you thought were on the journey with you
fell away?
Well, they weren't, man. They it was a facade. You know what I mean? Like, they would literally tow you away in handcuffs. You know what I mean? And I think critical thinking is something that is lacking in modern society, I think. Right?
Yes. You're holy crap. I literally had this conversation with a good friend while driving here to your place about critical thinking. Remember I told you a friend rang me and we had a really good conversation on the way here?
Yeah.
So, Andrew, if you're listening, you get a shout out too, bro.
Yeah.
We literally had this conversation about how the ability to have a conversation and be on opposing side of the fence no longer exists.
Yeah.
Conversation is now, I'm right, and if you disagree with me, I'll cancel you or I'll fucking whatever. You know, that's the point we've reached. Critical thinking's gone, and if you try to challenge somebody, it's seen as an attack rather than a conversation.
That's right.
Like, you and I could be on, if we picked a topic right now that you and I are on different sides of, and I could think of one off the top of my head if we wanted to play the game.
Yeah.
We could have a conversation about it
Absolutely.
and respect each other's opinions.
Dude, the thing is, you're not supposed to agree, okay?
Agreeing is what got us here in the first place.
Agreeing to
to everything is what got us here.
Yeah. The next cool thing. Agreeing's what's... See, the thing is that I've been going back to been reflecting a lot lately about the founding ideas of the show, right? And the founding idea was grasp your eccentricities, right? But also to collect tiles on the mirror ball, right? You got to collect all the perspectives, man, especially the ones you don't agree with. Because how can you gather a complete perspective of something if you're not willing to
look at the opposition? Yeah, I agree, 100%.
You know, and it's like during the mass formation psychosis, what I didn't understand
was how people could just follow it.
Yeah. I didn't, and the thing is, but it's only like 20% of people apparently are critical thinkers anyway. Right? Yep. I think that's the ratio.
Do you know that, and I'll try and find the study for you, the majority of critical thinkers are non-academics. The higher up people go with their education, the more indoctrinated they become.
If you never leave school,
they'll be able to think for themselves because they're told this is what you need to know, this is fact, and there'll be a test on it.
Yeah.
Fail the test, you fail the course.
That's right.
They lose the ability to critically think because they're told what to think. And the further into their education they go, the more indoctrinated they become.
You're out unlocking the code, man. You know what I mean? We read these studies to gather. You know, we've looked at the both sides of the ancient megalith stuff. That's the core stuff. You know, and then. But even and it's interesting when you said you started on your men's journey, that opens your mind, right? Yeah. Because one of the things you have to realise, one of the first things you have to realise is that you're a fucking idiot, okay? And most of your problems are your fault, dude. You know what I mean? Like
we were talking about this off air before. That was, for me, a huge part of my depression. Like, I was already battling depression and suicidal ideology.
Yeah.
And then when I started to do the work, there was a very specific moment where I realised I was a horrible human being and that every problem in my life was my fault.
Exactly.
Because prior to that, everybody around, I'm gonna throw the F word around for a second here because this was literally my thinking.
Yeah.
Everything was fucked.
Yeah.
And I was perfect.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's like, I don't understand.
It's not anybody else.
I don't understand why everybody does this to me and why this keeps happening to me and why my life's terrible and why I hate myself. And it's like, and then, at some point during the work, so it's like, because you're the problem.
You're the problem, dude.
Yeah. And then I think I spent the next year crying and reflecting on the wake of carnage I'd left behind me, just being a horrible human being.
And it happens, man. Everyone's got red on their ledger in some form or another.
Bro.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point. But I mean, I remember here's a COVID memory for you. I had a troll, right? And I made a post. And in her response, it was obviously an anti-vaccine, COVID vaccine post that I'd made because I did a few of those.
Just a couple.
Just a couple, dude. I was in deep there for a little while. And actually, it's interesting to reflect upon how I actually came out of that. You know what I mean? I used to ask you as well because we were both right in there for a little while.
Yeah,
you know
too far.
Too far. And her response. If she said the word vaccinated once, she said it 15 times.
Yep.
In a 30-word response.
She was basically Eminem with the word vaccine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I actually responded to it. I said, have you heard of neuro-linguistic programming? Because how many the fact that you said vaccinated so many times is exactly, you've been indoctrinated to that word. And I remember watching the press, old pallet jack herself. She didn't she scarp her off, mate?
Yeah, that's another rabbit hole.
Just to leave the politics aside for a second.
Did she walk into a job with the WEF as well on $250,000 a year?
Yes, she did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. Well, she's part of the Olympic Committee, which is the same thing. You know what I mean?
She's in bed with Dan Andrews right now.
That's right.
Don't even get me started.
That's a terrible image. Thanks for that.
Was she the last premier to get sacked? Like, hasn't every premier either quit or gotten sacked?
No, she resigned. She quit.
Resigned.
Yeah,
she resigned.
She's the last standing one. Yeah, in Australia.
Okay. Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's only her and Trudeau.
Trudeau won't go down.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Isn't he, bloody little bastard? Anyway, leaving the politics
He's so good
alone.
looking though.
He's got the swag.
He's got the swagger.
Yeah. Have you heard him? He's like, no, we didn't force people to get vaccines. He seriously said that.
I know, I saw it.
I was like, man. I didn't call anybody.
I almost
racist.
believed him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just looked into his eyes and
His
I was just
blue
like,
eyes.
oh, he's probably right.
He's probably right. Or maybe I'm wrong.
That's how mass formation
This works. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you remember those press conferences, right? Get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. Get back. You know what I mean? Like,
want to have a beer? Want to go to the pub?
Yeah.
Get vaccinated on huge billboards. I remember seeing it at Chermside.
Yeah. VB billboards with vaccine.
If you want to go back to the pub, get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Want to see the footy again? I saw them on billboards.
Yeah. I mean, and now they will literally say that no one was forced to get it, right?
Are you stupid? Nothing happened.
Yeah, no, exactly. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Oh, dude. And the thing is, you've got to laugh. Like I said, if it's so evil, right? So, it's so unbelievably evil that if you don't laugh about it, you would cry.
So do you know how I actually get through all this now? Because like we were talking about going down the rabbit hole and like going too far. And I know quite a few people who are in the same boat. They're like, I just don't want to talk about it anymore because I just get sucked back down the rabbit.
Yeah.
And I'm still easily led. I'll admit I'm still easily led. So I'm very... You've probably noticed Facebook, I made an agreement with myself. And when I make an agreement with myself, my word as a man is my bond.
Yeah, it's integrity,
The agreement that I made with myself is that I will not post any conspiracy theory, anti-vax, anti-jab, like any of that stuff. That's
you were
my
just
opinion.
tagged in a photo with a tinfoil hat on your head.
Yeah. But I'm also on a podcast, and I'm speaking my truth here. I'm not forcing. Nobody has to listen to this.
You must listen to us.
Listen to it. And you know what? If people disagree, that's cool. Yeah. I respect that. You're entitled to have whatever opinion you want. This is mine, and it's true for me.
Why did you not? Why did you? I mean, I looked at it from a safety perspective, and basically, I smelled bullshit from probably about the first month. Honestly, like by the time my birthday ran around, because it was like March the 8th is my birthday, and it sort of all kicked off in January, and we were locked down for my birthday.
Yep.
And that was the ramp up of sort of like that.
For me, do
you remember the toilet paper?
When I first realized something was up,
over toilet paper.
When I first realised something was up was when people who were a little further down the rabbit hole than me, because we were locked down, so I was on Facebook all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's on Facebook.
And I started seeing people that I respected posting things that made me question things. Like, there were people who were like, they will 100% force a vaccine on you in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And then there was a list of like, here's how long it's taken to make every other vaccine in history, and there was no vaccines made in 6 months. It took long, long times, and there's like there's nothing, and I'm like, they're not going to, that's ridiculous, that won't happen. Next thing you know, vaccines are coming, then they're like, they're going to mandate them, and they're going to make you all take them. So I was watching people who were ahead of the curve, and everything they said happened. And then I started sort of going down the rabbit holes, and I started seeing things before they happened as well, because I was down the rabbit holes in the same place as these other people. Right. And I started trying to warn people. It cost me friendships. It cost me family. It cost me everything. And, but I saw it, and then it's like, once you're down the rabbit hole, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't come back, man.
You can't unring the bell.
Yeah, you can't come back. And the thing is, dude, I think I didn't want to be right, man.
Boom. Nailed it. I've said that to quite a few people now. I've never wanted to be more wrong about anything in my life.
I don't want to be right about what has happened and what is still happening. And this is the thing. We act like it's in the past. No, it's not. It's just the next stage of the plan. Okay.
All right. So the big question. What's happening? What is your opinion? Because let's say, we have what we believe to be true, but it doesn't mean it's the truth, and other people might have another truth.
So
the
what
truth
are you
is
saying?
The truth is subjective.
Yeah,
So
but it is subjective. But I do believe.
What is your belief on what's happening? Let's call it.
Oh,
Well, I think we've gone further enough into the rabbit hole to actually just call it. What do you believe to be true?
it's quite obvious to me that, look, we can't. The World Economic Forum, right? Klaus wrote a book saying the Great Reset.
Yeah,
You think
got released the year before COVID, in case you're wondering.
Right. And and everyone gets about agenda. Was it the meeting in October the year before?
Davin.
Yeah, but 2020. No, there was a meeting with Bill Gates and all his cronies in October before COVID hit about COVID happening, right? So I talked about how I'm not deep in the rabbit hole anymore. It's hard to encapsulate what is happening now. I think this is a plan that the entire 20th century, to a large degree, was the plan, right? And what is happening now, I mean, we could start a discussion about who actually won World War II, right?
We could. Can we post links to some really useful stuff under this?
Of course you can. You just send them to me and I'll put them in the chat.
Remember this. Everything is a rich man's trick. It's a 5-hour documentary on YouTube. And the evidence that actually drops is next level. But crack on.
The pharmaceutical industrial complex and the military industrial complex
and the technological
industrial complex, right? But I think you've got to look back to World War One, really, right? Now, World War One was a family tiff, okay? That meat grinder was a family tiff, but behind it was the industry, okay? And through that became pharmaceuticals. There is not insignificant evidence that the Spanish flu was a vaccine reaction to meningococcal, because they didn't come from Spain at all. Spain had nothing to do with it. They just called it the Spanish flu, right?
Yeah, right.
And this is the thing. This is the narrative. What we need to understand, and see, I look at it from a different lens as well because of the ancient history, ancient mysteries, megaliths, advanced society stuff, right? The indoctrination of the narrative, the narrative has been carefully crafted for a very long time, right? And when I look back and I went, it's sort of like it was.
Do you ever feel like you've gone completely crazy? Like,
yes.
Legitimate question. Do you ever feel like you've gone completely crazy as you go down these rabbit holes?
Yes, because the thing is, you have to question, right?
Yeah.
You have to question whether you're crazy or not, because all right, it's so deep. That's a big question to say what's going on. Sure. Do you want the elevator pitch? And then I want to go into a couple of specifics.
All right, throw the elevator pitch. Can you do it in under 2?
Oh, I'd be close. The elevator pitch is, this is a plan that's been enacted. I'd say Rockefeller, just choose your
13 families.
Choose your 13 families, okay? The cabal is real, has been real for a long time. And I think you want to go real crazy, we're looking at, survivors of a corrupt civilization 12,000 years ago. But anyway, that's a much deeper rabbit hole. Look, they want control, okay? That's the bottom line, right? They want control. They're trying to take control. If I was to say what's happening now, right now, January 2024, I think they're getting more resistance than they thought they would, right?
Do you think COVID was a test for compliancy?
Absolutely. That was data gathering.
So
data gathering.
The numbers weren't in their favour as they liked.
So you can... You can catch it by wiping it off a counter, but we've got to stick something into your brain and send it away to be tested to see whether you've got it, right?
Yeah.
Collecting DNA.
Yeah.
Right? That is as simple as that is. And it was a numbers game, and it was a test to see how far they could push us, right? And I think the thing is that people forget that 1 million people turned up at Canberra and there was another 5 million that wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the numbers overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
And obviously... the vaccine didn't work. It was clear that it didn't work, but did it? I mean, that's the darker, deeper...
Depends on what it was designed for.
Exactly right.
That's another rabbit hole for later.
I think the vaccine did work, but it didn't work for the populace because everyone kept getting sick, and it overwhelmed them. And I think the thing is, man, do you know how crafted MSM is? Right? So here's some facts that I know, okay? So I had a student from Ireland and I had a student from South Africa, just immigrated to Australia, in a class the other day. And I said, how's things going at home? Do you understand in Cape Town in South Africa there is rolling blackouts? They have no access to water. It is slowly descending into a third world country. There is riots on the streets and fires and everything else like that.
Because you don't hear about it.
Exactly, right? That's what's going on in Rio and Cape Town in South Africa right now as we sit here and talk about this.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
In Ireland, there is riots in the streets about the immigrants that they let into Ireland, right? About all the people from the east, I'd imagine.
Yep.
Coming in that the UK let in.
Yeah, Ukraine, Israel, all that.
Yeah, all that, right? And there's riots in the streets by the Irish and they're smashing shit and burning shit in Ireland. Did you know that?
It was like all the protests in Europe.
Yeah.
Never made the mainstream media.
Protests in Rio de Janeiro. The farmers in France are currently...
Didn't they label... And I don't know, you might know this, so this is just what I think I heard.
Yeah.
They labelled... Basically, in France, anybody who revolted against the narrative was labelled as a domestic terrorist, and they were calling farmers domestic terrorists.
Yes.
I don't know if it's true or
not. Yeah,
no,
that's what they tried to do, and the farmers basically loaded manure trucks and drove past the Parliament and sprayed manure at the front of the Parliament buildings.
That's what I actually want to salute right now.
Exactly. That's great, man. That's fantastic. They're doing the same in Germany. Germany's blocking the highways. We people don't understand.
You don't hear it.
You don't hear any of that stuff. That is exactly what's going on right now as we have this conversation. And if we would log on to news.com, it'd be bloody someone wears a bikini and sucking blah, blah, blah,
Did you
blah,
ever
blah.
see the video? And
Epstein's list. We finally got Epstein's list. But there's no real surprise. Like, everyone that was on there is pretty much on there. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't even know the list had come out. I stopped tracking it.
Yeah.
But
he for sure hanged himself. But yeah, man, that is what's going on right now in the world as we sit here and have this conversation, right? The cost of living in this country is astronomical. Everyone's struggling to put food on the table and join the dots, right? In differing levels, we are... You know what? We are a frog in a
boiling water.
In bottled
Do you want to hear something heartbreaking? So on Boxing Day, my partner and I, we didn't have any kids, so we decided we had a ton of food left over from Christmas Eve and Christmas, and we know there's a huge homeless problem out around Redcliffe and all that, so we just loaded up all our food,
cities,
and we just went out to like some of the tent cities, and we're just like...
That's awesome, man.
Well, it was awesome, but it was actually heartbreaking. Do you know how many people we actually tried to feed who didn't need food? They were on the streets because they had nowhere to live.
Yeah.
They had jobs.
Yeah, full-time jobs.
And they were living in
man.
their cars and living at the beach in like vans and that. They're like, no, I don't need food. I've got money. I just don't have a house. There's nobody. I can't get a rental anywhere.
Yeah.
So we went through quite a few people first who were fully employed, had full-time jobs.
Yeah, but also they can't afford the rent either.
Yeah, or they couldn't afford their rent, so they had to choose between like rent or food.
Yeah,
so they just
living
live in their car so they can eat.
Yeah.
And then we found some other people who were like proper homeless, like they'd been through it. They were actually recovered addicts, and they were far away from everybody else because they didn't want to be near alcohol, drugs. They just wanted to be on their own and recover and get through being homeless. And we were talking with them, and they were saying that, you know what, I'm actually going to name the place. Out at Scott's Point, out Redcliffe Way, there's like 3-story house, like it's $1 million houses right on the water, 3 stories and that. They moved from there because rich people were coming out of their houses and abusing them, calling them scum, spitting at them, throwing rocks at them. Like, these are, I'm going to assume, millionaires, or at least extremely high income earners, got 3-story houses on the beach.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't want homeless people ruining their views. So they'd throw rocks at their cars, they'd spit at them, they'd go abuse them, they'd take their stuff, like they got generators and that, they'd go and like unplug their generator and try and nick off with their generator just to make them leave, just stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and just a shout out. We're giving shout outs. You want to hear something heartbreaking? Here's a shout out to the Brisbane City Council, who dismantled a tent city in Sandgate just before Christmas.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, and because no one was there. No one was there because the people who lived there had jobs and they can't afford anywhere to live. And they took their tents and all their shit, everything.
Oh, they just seized it all?
They just took it. They just threw it in the bin. The whole lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard old world out there at the moment, dude. You don't see anything about that, though.
No. But what do you do? You're just wearing a tinfoil hat, mate. That's what you're doing. You know, and that's the thing. That's a fact, man.
But then you get headlines like they, them on YouTube has rant about pronouns.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about anything else. I suppose probably because nothing's happening.
Yeah, nothing's going on, dude.
There's a reoccurring theme here.
But also, you want to talk about what's going on right now. The reality is BlackRock owns the world. And you need to that's one thing everyone needs to grasp. One company owns everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
All right.
Not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
I've
I know,
I've seen it all. Yeah.
Vanguard and BlackRock own everything. And they just do, right? So when one company takes over another...
If anybody wants a link, send me a link.
Exactly.
I'll send you the video.
Good.
And I don't even know. Are you finding that a lot of you're probably like me, you've saved a lot of links and saved a lot of information
Yeah, they don't come up anymore, man. Yeah.
A lot of stuff's like,
it's gone.
I've got to try and find it on multiple platforms.
Yeah, you can't, because they filtered it, man. They filtered it, right? And this is the point. The mass formation psychosis broke, basically, is from what I saw. You know, you got to remember, too, the only reason that we are out of that is because of people like you and me, not you and me in particular. However, the objectives,
people being vocal,
yeah,
right,
but it became overwhelming that we were right. Yeah, like nothing was.
People still won't admit it though.
No, they don't want to talk about it, man.
Did you hear about that New Zealand dude? The
cognitive dissonance. That's
cognitive dissonance. Correct. Yeah. You heard about that dude in New Zealand?
Which one?
He was the whistleblower. So he was.
I saw something about this.
He basically his sole job was data analysis for vaccine-related injuries.
Yes, that's.
But he worked for the New Zealand government, and he started to see the number of deaths that were actually rolling in, and he had access to like all these different platforms, and he started collating information from around the world, and then he released it. Now this was information direct from government databases that he had. You can check all this. It'll say that he's crazy. It'll say that it's all false information. Yeah, but here's the thing. He worked for the government. That's a fact.
Yep.
He released the information. That's a fact. He got arrested for leaking the information. So if it's fake information, why was he arrested? Why is he in jail if he did nothing more than put out fake news?
Exactly.
So he's in jail. All the data's fake, and half the websites have been taken down. So I've actually got a couple of different links. I need to get around to... It's a long...
Yeah, man. This is the problem.
I need to screenshot it so that because I've only got links at the moment, but it'll get taken down because I've had a few links taken down. So do you know what it shows? You ready for this? And again, I'll post the links or I'll check they work, and I'm happy to give you the links.
Yeah, just send me an email later.
10 million worldwide.
Yeah.
So you think about the Holocaust, that was 6 million. 10 million worldwide.
Isn't that fascinating? Do you know what I just brought up? So this is the excess deaths as far as we understand them, that what they've released in the UK, 2022 and 2023.
10 million in the UK.
Was 100,000 excess deaths.
Yep.
Right? 101,903. At the height of the Blitz in 1941, 40,000. Total civilian deaths for World War II was 70,000, and there's been 100,000 extra deaths in the last 2 years. That's not 2021 either, because the number would be higher.
It's getting higher year by year.
Yeah, and it's accelerating, and it's not decelerating.
2 years ago, the Australian, so I've been tracking the Australian one. The Australian
15%, isn't it?
All-cause mortality in Australia was, so 2 years ago, it was like 12% above average.
Yeah, it's a 15.
I think last year,
15.
I say last year, so 2022, 22 was about 14%.
Yeah.
And 23 was 17%.
17%.
So now people go, oh, that's not that much. The previous biggest jump in Australian history in all-cause mortality was back in the 60s. I can't remember what caused it, but it was 2%.
Yeah.
The biggest jump above the normal rate
ever in
recorded history was
history.
2%. The last 3 years, it's been like 12, 15, and 17.
But the thing is, it's extrapolating, right? You know, here's one I've got for you. Dentist drops dead in the middle of the patient's routine teeth cleaning. Right? That doesn't happen, bro. Right?
He didn't have his tinfoil hat on. That's what happened.
With the hat on.
Get your hats, people.
The two stewardesses for British Airways, one dropped dead, get this, while giving here's your life jacket demonstration, dropped dead doing that. Wow. Dead before they hit the ground.
Did you hear about the Korean model who had a stroke, and they said it had something to do with the way she was doing her hair? That's what they put. I think it's the thing. It was like an actual news article. Like hairdryer incident may have triggered stroke in this 20-something
I sent that
model.
to Kath because she man, it's like
look,
if you look, the heat's pretty bad, man. It might have a heart attack if you hang around in the heat for very longer. What's the other ones that I've seen? Oh man, the list goes on.
The latest prediction is that there's going to be a new strain of COVID that's going to cause mass heart attacks.
Yeah, mass heart attacks. Yeah, mass heart failure.
Today. There's going to be mass heart failure as a result of a new strain.
No, yes, yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay because Pfizer have bought out.
Yeah, they've bought out all the cancers things, man. Turbo cancers. And look,
super cancer's now a thing, but it's okay because Pfizer literally just bought out all the biggest cancer companies on earth, and they're now treating cancer. So you're in good hands.
You're in good hands. They've got it. They want to look after you.
That's convenient, isn't it?
It's just crazy, man. You wouldn't read about it, really. I mean,
you won't read about
you
it
won't
because
read
it's getting
about it.
taken down. You know where I found it? It's actually on the Pfizer website.
Yeah.
So fact check that.
Yeah.
It's on the Pfizer
Yeah, it is on the
website.
Pfizer website, yeah.
It was like a $220 billion acquisition
I
or
think
something.
it was $43 billion. $43 billion acquisition
There you go.
of all the largest cancer treating. And look, man, you want... they...
That's you know what, and good on them because
Good
they
on
only
'em.
got to make a couple of $100 billion out of the vaccine. So I'd say good for them. I hope the shareholders.
Yeah, the shareholders must be doing really well. Do you know
They're
what the
probably
thing
doing it
is,
tough
though,
in this
dude?
economy.
You asked me what's going on right now. There was a dude, it's a reel I saw. Even Oliver Anthony's, right? We listened to Richmond, North of Richmond before we hit the record button,
Great
right?
song.
They don't think that you know, but I know that you do. I think you talk about cognitive dissonance and only 20% of the people being able to critical think. I think there's a percentage of these crazy motherfuckers that they actually think that we don't know now, right? But the thing is that...
I think they know that we know, but they also don't care because they hold all the cards.
Yeah.
It's basically like...
But do they?
It's like, okay, you know, what are you going to do? Make a podcast? Or wake a few people up? Go your hardest. Like, they don't care.
Yeah, but would you agree that...
And if you get too big, like the Andrew Tates of the world, that's cool. Now you're a child sex trafficker and
That's
you're in
right.
a Romanian jail.
Yeah.
So they don't care. They'll let you do your thing. You're small time.
Yeah.
If you had 100 million followers, do you think we'd be doing this podcast?
Well, definitely would be.
We'd be okay, let me rephrase that. Do you think they would let the podcast go if you had 100 million followers?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, look, even the small indie podcast that UTC is, I got probably half a dozen episodes over COVID taken down.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
I was demonetized a couple. Not demonetized because I don't have enough followers to get.
They
the
don't
money,
even
but-
they don't even need people. It's algorithms.
Yeah, it's all
Just
they're looking for keywords, yeah.
algorithms. Yeah, and then they can tell the followers you get as well. They're like, all the tinfoil hat people are following Triff. Shut that one down.
Yeah. Yeah, just shut it down.
And my question to you is, what were you able to do about that?
Nothing.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah, no, but look, I understand what you're saying. However, there's that other thing. There's the how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
I think about it quite often.
Often,
but
everyone does,
That's
yeah.
because you've actually got a copy of Meditations on
Yeah,
your
I know,
desk. That's
dude,
the first
yeah.
thing I notice when I come in. I'm like, Triff, this is why I love you.
Yeah, man. I've been reflecting with Marcus Aurelius lately, dude. I just every now and again I'll pick that book back up again.
He was a pretty stoic dude.
Oh, look, he had a different way to look. He was pretty stoic, yes.
I thought my pun was going to be wasted. I'm so glad you
He's
got
very
it.
stoic. Well, he's the creation of Stoicism, basically. However, man, the one thing that gives me hope, maybe, is a word, and it goes back to Rome. The reason that the countless and endless distractions that we're being fed by those, whoever, the cabal, we'll just call them, the reason they do that is that we outnumber them millions and millions and millions to one. Right?
Did you ever watch Black Sails, TV show about pirates?
Oh, that's an old TV
It
show.
is, dude. Did you ever watch it?
I think so, man. But
Okay, so you're going to treat yourself after this, and
You're
you're going to jump on
delving-
YouTube. And
isn't
you're
that
gonna,
old mate? Isn't that the Aussie dude? What's his name? Black Sails?
I think that the dude who played Michael Hutchins in the NXS.
Yeah.
Okay, he plays Long John Silver.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in it. There's a guy named Charles Vane, and he gets hung, and he gives a speech right before he gets hung. And I can't remember it verbatim, but it's something along the lines of, "You're all here today to see me get hanged." And he goes, "But understand something. They're not hanging me because they're scared of me. They're scared of you because they can't hang you all."
Exactly. Yeah.
And it started a riot. So he got hung, and then it kicked off.
Yeah. And this is the
Oh,
point.
and actually, his very last words were, "Get on with it, motherfuckers." I'm like, salute.
Done.
Yeah, but it was like, I get goosebumps. The speech, it goes a lot longer than that. And There's
Yeah.
a bit more in it, but it's basically, they don't fear me. They fear you. They rely on your silence and your fear.
And your compliance, yeah.
They can't hang you all.
Do you know what's interesting? I think you probably hit the nail on the head there with fear, right?
It's huge.
And when you actually really do the work, the one thing that you let go of is fear, right? There's a big part as
Do you
a
know
man.
why that is? What is the... Okay, there's only one. Actually, no, I'll say two. There's only two emotions that can overcome fear. Love.
And anger.
No, gratitude. Love and gratitude.
Oh, yeah, it can overcome fear.
To overcome fear.
Anger is created. Anger is created by fear.
Correct.
In most cases, yeah.
Usually it's because you're redundant to do anything about the fear.
Yeah.
The only thing
it's
that
love,
conquers fear
love is the answer
love and gratitude. And what does men's work teach you?
Love and gratitude.
Love for yourself,
Yeah.
love for your brothers,
Yeah.
even love for your enemies.
Yeah.
I've reached a point where it's like, I've literally reached a point where I'm like, forgive them for they don't know what they do.
Yeah. And like I said before,
That's
man,
where I'm at. Like,
it would be terrifying if it wasn't so well played. Like, you've got to sort of say, like, well played. But well played.
you asked a question, but you actually asked a question before, and we kind of deviated. And the question was,
doesn't matter.
how did I get out of the rabbit hole, and how do I get through it now with what's going on in the world? Right. So there's two parts to it. One is my partner Michaela actually helped wake me up because I was posting all the time, and she kind of helped me realize. She's like, people just they don't care.
No.
They don't
No one
care.
cares,
They just think that you're some crazy dude posting random shit on Facebook, and I'm like, and when I thought about that, I'm like, you're absolutely right. And I realized I was doing it because I had a need to be right.
Yeah.
It was ego. That's all it was. I had to be right because I knew I was right, and everybody had to acknowledge that I was right. Once I let go of that, I left Facebook for like a year. I'm back on now, and I have an agreement with myself that I'll only post positivity. And boy, it's hard some days.
It's just
so obviously I've got about 30 or 40 people just like us that I message behind the scenes. That's where I get my fix from.
The message
that's where I get my
fast.
yeah, that's
where
that's where I get my little ego fix from. Like, oh, look at this. But I haven't posted anything, and I owe that to my partner. She got me out of that rabbit hole. The way I get through stuff now, and it's actually a really good technique. You're going to love this, right? Think about the whole world as the worst scripted and worst cast Netflix show you've ever seen. Look at Trump and Biden. You can't write that shit. You can't fucking write that shit.
This is who's fighting for the lead of the free world.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
and I look at it just like, I mean, like,
if this was 10 years ago, right? Imagine this. Imagine if everything that has happened was released in a Netflix comedy series 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd piss yourself laughing. You'd be like, this would never happen. The world would never believe that. He would never be. They would never get a pedophile with amnesia or fucking what's he got? Dementia.
Dementia. I don't know.
Dementia, like he's a pedophile with dementia.
I don't even think he knows where he is.
He's the leader of the free world. And his opposition is
Donald Trump.
I love Trump. I love watching Trump. Don't know if I'd vote for him. Don't know if I'd follow him, but I love watching him.
It's a hell of a show.
It's
a hell of a show, man.
Every day I wake up, and every so often I'll have a sneak peek into the rabbit hole to see what's going on.
Where are we up to now?
And all the things that stoke my precious little ego, I'll share that in my little chat groups. I'll share that in my little chat groups. And everything else, I just laugh at now.
Yeah, you have to,
and
man.
I've reached a point, so my personal belief and the journey I've been on spiritually, and we spoke about this before, I believe that everything that has happened had to happen, or it would never have happened. And I think that everything that's going to happen has to happen, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a pathway.
Look, and
I just sit back and watch
we
it.
We can sit here and become like quote generators, really, can't you, right?
We're more like meme generators.
Let's be honest. Meme generators, yeah. I've got a meme problem. There's thousands of them. Seriously, it's like 7,000 in my phone.
You know what you should do? Just post them all at once in one post.
This is my back catalogue.
This is what goes on in my
That's
head.
only that phone. That's only that phone, though.
That's not the burner phone. That's in the Faraday bag in the Faraday cage.
That's just right. I don't know where I was going. Oh, like you said, right? It's do or do not. Okay. I think the thing is that when I realised this, I think what got me out of it. Well, I think mushrooms helped.
They do that.
They do. However, what got me out of it was the plan is so vast and so big.
It's hard
and
to
it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to conceive. And for whatever reason, this time around in this lifetime, I don't have that much influence. Like, I'm not going to be able to influence the outcome. You know what I mean? Really, right?
Nothing I think, say, or do is going to change the outcome of what's coming.
No.
So there's no point worrying about it.
There's no point, man.
You got to look out for yourself. Do you.
Exactly.
And
right?
be, to quote E.T.,
just
be good.
Just be good, man.
Just be good.
Right?
Just be a good person.
Do or do not. Be a better human than you were yesterday.
100%.
That's the only thing you can do.
Be good.
Right? Now, look, officially, am I saying prepare? Yeah, I am officially saying prepare because
Boy Scouts warned you.
be prepared, man. The thing is, like, so we've been right all along. We didn't want to be right. I never fell for the black hat, white hat, all the bloody blah, blah, wah, wah, Q bullshit. I never fell for any of that the whole time, right? I'm like, it smells like a CIA psyop to me, right? And, well, it was.
That would be a good point to bring up Operation Mockingbird.
Yeah, man.
You familiar with Mockingbird?
Mockingbird, yeah. I'm familiar with a lot of them. Yeah. MK Ultra, where do you want to go? Yeah.
I would argue that Mockingbird's actually reached completion or very close to completion. For those who don't know, Google it. So Mockingbird was, and again, you can fact check it. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's open source now.
Dude, whoever's listening to this is fine.
So Mockingbird, I'm not sure of the exact date, but I do believe it was in the 70s. I'd have to fact check it. So somewhere around 76, they basically had a plan to take over the global media, and the mission would be deemed a success when they could publish a global lie that the whole world
would believe. Yes, that's right.
And that would then prove that they had complete control over the world. So that was Operation Mockingbird, and I believe it was 76 is in my head, but I don't know. You've got the...
Operation Mockingbird is an alleged large-scale program of the United States CIA that began in the early years of the Cold War, attempting to manipulate domestic American news media organizations for propaganda purposes. I mean, we have to talk about the propaganda, man. Like,
okay. Have you seen the video on YouTube of the overlay of every news channel on Earth?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, like every news channel.
That's still up, and that's the same script.
It's the same script.
So it starts with one video. For those who don't know, it starts with one video.
Yeah.
And then it cuts into two videos.
Three.
And it's two different news reporters.
And it ends up being
and then it ends up with a whole screen
of hundreds
of news
hundreds,
reporters, and they're all reciting the exact same script.
Yeah. And then it's like the New World Order doesn't exist. I think there's still videos up on that. Every single politician.
Yeah.
This is the New World Order. This is the New World Order.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It's like a montage.
Yeah,
it's where they've it's like in the New World Order.
Yeah, this is the New World Order. In the New World Order.
Are you tracking? Please tell me you're tracking Joe Biden, because it's hilarious.
Oh man, I can't.
Google.
I can't Google with him, man. Like,
no. Listen to this. You're gonna love this. Google Joe Biden. They told me to say. So there's clips of him, and it's all these big speeches relating to...
And he's like, they told me to say...
He's like, they've told me that this is happening, or I've been told to say that. He's actually using... That's actually happening. I've seen the clips.
Yeah.
He's like, so I've been told that this is happening, or I've been told to say that this is happening.
One of my favourite memes is like...
And then there was one where halfway through a speech, he got tired and said, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, he just walks up. He just stops.
It was great. I told you, it's the worst Netflix show ever.
Did you see what he wanted for Christmas? He's like... Yeah, okay, banana curry sandwich. And it's like, man.
Do you think he has a Xanax problem or something? It's like he just chomps Xanax non-stop.
Look, I don't know, dude.
That's the leader of the free world.
If it is Joe Biden, he had his skull off surgery, dude. Like that did happen to him.
That's the leader of the free world, and he sniffs little girls' hairs on camera.
Yeah, just straight up.
Randomly grabs their hair and sniffs it. Did you see that?
Up. Yeah, that's happened a lot. They don't actually allow children near him anymore because of that.
Here's the thing. Why...
Don't let the kid near the president.
How is it that we can see these things happening when the most, inverted commas, most powerful man on earth is a phoebe who sniffs girls' hair on camera, and people aren't talking about it? I don't get it. And then if we mention it, it's like fake news.
Yeah, well, I think that's old news, man. I mean,
it is old now, but
the amount of gaffes that Joe Biden, Joe Rogan's a comedian, right? Back in the 90s. Joe Biden was known for stealing people's stuff. And they used to have a Joe Biden night where they'd steal each other's jokes. Yeah, laptops. Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Sorry.
Oh, man.
I couldn't help it.
Oh, dude.
I saw an opening and I went with it.
And that's propaganda, right? That is blatant propaganda, right?
Yeah.
We were subjected... Actually, what did I saw that meme I sent you the other day. It's like, if you're still here, unvaccinated... didn't wear a mask, didn't comply.
I didn't even wear shoes.
You didn't wear shoes.
I still don't wear shoes.
Lucky I put pants on, really.
That was on a good day.
But if you are still unvaccinated, blah, 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 we literally withstood $1 trillion propaganda
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
$1 trillion propaganda campaign. That's pretty cool, man. I tell you what, kudos to you, brother.
Air fist
over there.
Yes.
Only because we can't reach each other, not because we're afraid of COVID.
Let's do an elbow bump.
Elbow, yeah.
COVID bump.
Yeah, do you know what's hilarious about that, though? Where do they ask you to sneeze?
In your elbow?
In your elbow. It's like, man.
Once again, the worst Netflix show ever.
Oh, dude, it
helps
so
me get through every
funny.
day.
It's so fun. But the thing is, it's really terrifying at the same time.
So it's not terrifying. So again, that conversation I was having earlier today. So this friend I was talking with, he's very intellectual and he overthinks things a lot. I love you, Andrew. And he was struggling with the fact that I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not scared of anything. I think I can't remember the word he used. He thought it's not nihilistic but he was like, he just couldn't wrap his head around the fact that I'm not worried about what's going on in the world anymore.
The thing is, you can't, right?
It's with my spiritual pathway and with the faith that I've developed with everything so far, it's going to happen. I'll just be prepared as I can.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm going to love. I'm going to love my
partner.
The thing is,
I'm
going to love my kids. I'm going to love as many people as I can, and I'm going to do my best.
Look,
I'm not very successful, but I'm going to do my best
to love the people
who are doing this. Because you know what? You think about it, right? You and I both know about cycles of behavior, like from childhood, right? Mm-hmm. You can trace this back. Think about the families that these psychopaths were raised in. So if you want to go down the path of the elites, right?
The blue bloods.
The blue bloods, the elites, right? If you trace that lineage back, you've got a generation of people who have never been told no.
Yes.
As a child, they had everything and anything
power,
they ever wanted.
And just the lust for power.
Okay, now we know that power's addictive. I know about addiction.
Mm-hmm.
You can never have enough.
Yeah.
If your addiction is power because you've been born into never having to say no. Nobody says no to you. Imagine when you get to the age of 80 and you've got billions and billions and billions of dollars and nobody ever says no to you. You think about, let's go down a dark rabbit hole. Let's think about sex. If you can have anything you want, anytime you want, any way you want because you're above the law,
do you know what's interesting?
Where does that lead?
I heard, I think it might have been David Bowie or Mick Jagger. It was one of the two. I think they might have done an interview together because they admitted to sleeping with each other.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they I think this interview
was there a woman in the middle of this, or was just the two of them just got it on?
They just got it on because they were like, they put it pretty brilliantly. They said at a certain point of money and power, like if you're Mick Jagger or David Bowie, you can
have anything you want.
You can have anything that you want.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like he goes. I think they said they had a beautiful summer together or something like that, right? Because if you can only.
Liberace just like wiped a tear away from his
eye. Well, the thing is, man, only David Bowie and Mick Jagger can probably understand each other. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, how can you compare? Right? I mean, James Hetfield was a good thing about addiction with alcohol and stuff. He's like, when I was in Russia, have you seen the footage of the Russian concert when there's like 300,000, 500,000 people?
No, it's bigger. I think it was a million people. Yeah. It was a million people. It was
when the wall fell.
The music festival was when the wall fell, and it was the first time they had the freedom to go watch a festival.
Yeah.
And I think it was like almost free. So it was just a massive celebration to celebrate.
And
the
he's
wall
like, "Can
down.
you imagine that?
Yeah,
and
I still
you're in
watch the
control
videos,
of that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, power is an interesting thing, and look, how do you say that the world's run by elitist pedophiles? Like,
easy.
It just did.
You just did.
Right.
You just did.
Because the thing is, I mean, we've got to remember. So Epstein's list was part of Epstein's list was released.
That's not even the list.
It's not even the list. It's
why
some
did it take
doctor
so long?
list. Yeah.
Well, it's not even the list. What they did is they went through people they know that they're like, all right, so who does everybody think is a pedophile?
It's definitely these guys.
Let's chuck their names on the
list. Let's pretend the list
got
throw
them under the bus.
But let's not forget what the island was about, right? The island was powerful people would go there,
blackmail,
and you would be filmed doing things to
children.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah.
You went there, you did something with a child on camera, and then the elites owned you.
Yeah.
You get you get fame, you get power, you get
whatever you want.
Become the biggest actor, the biggest musician, the biggest politician, whatever. That's cool, but you do what we say when we say how we say.
Yeah.
Or this video goes.
Let's not forget about Harvey Weinstein, right? And then the photos of Oprah
handing him young girls.
Handing him young girls. There's so many photos.
And that look on his face.
Yeah. Thanks, Oprah. Yeah. I mean, and that again. That's easily Googleable. That's not. You know what I mean? Like, there's a globalist pedophile cabal that runs the world.
Have you watched Sound of Freedom?
No, because I was in a fragile place when Sound of Freedom came out.
You can get it now. It's actually available on YouTube. So that's probably the only platform you'll be able to get it. I was actually surprised anybody carried it. I went to the movies and saw it, and I had to go the other side of Brisbane because no major cinemas were carrying it. So we went to like Carindale or something. I've never cried so much in a movie in all my life.
Well, where are the missing children, right?
Yeah.
I mean, outside of whatever's happened in the last few years, where are the missing children?
Jim Caviezel is a legend, man.
Yeah, man.
I hope I pronounced your last name right, dude.
Yeah.
If you're listening, my bad. But yeah, he's a full advocate for it now. He works with Tim Ballard and he's working with the Operation Underground Railroad.
Yeah, there's full ex-special operations and military and everybody working on that problem right now.
Yeah.
And it's happening all the time.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I think I said 2 words there. Cognitive dissonance, man.
Yeah. So Jim, I'm going to say Caviezel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but whatever. So Jim Caviezel has actually said that the problem is it's such a horrendous problem that people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't talk about it at parties.
No.
You don't talk about it on podcasts. It's like people don't talk about it because it's probably one of the worst subjects on earth, which means nobody talks about the problem. It's a silent problem.
Mm. And no one wants to. And do you know what?
And if you want to go a step further, you look at porn these days. Porn is gearing more and more towards pedophilia. It's all about young girls. There was a documentary on Netflix. Look,
I think porn is an issue as well, man. You know what I mean?
I think it was on Pornhub and the creation of Pornhub, and they were talking with this director. He's basically the biggest sleaze you'll ever meet, and he has a house, and the house is just packed with 18-year-old girls. And he trials all the girls to make sure they're good in that. And he actually says on camera, he goes, every single day a girl in LA turns 18. And every single day in LA, a girl wants to make easy money. I will never, ever run out of 18-year-old girls.
Jesus.
He said that on camera, and he had a house full of them.
Mm.
And because it's all about the youngest looking porn stars you can get while keeping it legal...
Mm.
It's like these girls, some of these girls look like they're 15 and 16.
Man.
It blew my mind. And then it's like they know the clock's ticking, right? They know the clock's ticking.
What's with the step family stuff?
They know,
what I mean?
what's
that weird ass shit or inbred shit? You know what I mean?
So, and then it's like the clock's ticking because soon enough you will be too old for porn. So you need to do the worst stuff you can, and you need to do it as fast and hard as possible before you're too old to be in porn. And that's what's out there at the moment. And it's like, for me and you, porn for me and you was finding dad's stick mags in his fucking cupboard.
Yeah.
If you were lucky.
We stole them off my mate's brother.
Yeah. For kids these days, it's on their phones. Are you 18? You're in. Yeah. And they're not watching, Harry Bush 70s porn with a storyline. No. They're watching hardcore, borderline sadistic, misogynistic, horrible,
unbelievable
stuff.
Yeah.
And that's their introduction to sex.
Exactly.
And they're finding it at 12 and 13 years old.
Man, it's unbelievable.
And it's like, so boys are learning, this is what sex is.
Yeah.
This is how I treat
and
a
girls
woman.
As well, yeah.
And girls are learning, so there is a massive trend towards girls with porn at the moment. So girls are learning, this is what I need to do to please a man.
Exactly. And the thing is, like we said before, the sexualization and, the pronouns, I mean, oh my God. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. It's so fucking ridiculous, man. Look, you want to be I think there's that, I can't remember her name, but she's like, how many genders are there? 2. She's like, you can be whatever you want. But in the real world, this less fucked up world, there's boys and girls. Now, I've got nothing, I don't want to even start. But anyway.
I don't care.
The sexualization of our children, I think the thing is too, do you know what scared me probably the most in 2023? Was that the transgender month, right? The Pride month.
Was there a month, was there?
There was a whole month in June, right?
Oh, that's my birthday.
There's a whole month in June, right? And they were marching in the streets, and talk about things that get burned in your mind, and they're marching down the road going, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Have you seen some of the books and some of the education stuff?
Do you know who I feel really sorry for in this? I've got a lot of good friends who are gay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dudes I massively respect.
Absolutely.
How hard must it be? I mean, for these guys, I have absolutely nothing against homosexuality at all. I'm mates with a lot of guys who are gay. Zero. It does not bother me at all.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Just
don't push it on the kids, man.
I feel sorry for them because it's hard enough coming out. It's hard enough going through that.
And now they're being.
And then you get people who do stuff like that.
Yeah.
They all get tarred with the same brush, and that's so unfair, man.
Absolutely,
so unfair.
Absolutely. But there's also a narrative. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. It is a multi-pronged, multi-level attack on everything that we used to. I mean,
do you want to hear a theory on the whole genderism? You might know it already.
Oh, the collapse of society and people start messing around with gender.
It's a part of it, but
Yeah.
if you want to go down the religious rabbit hole in Satanism,
Yeah.
so God said there's two genders, and everything that Satan does is in reverse and opposition to God. So the destruction and the abolition of genders. So here's a deep rabbit hole for you. Let's assume for a moment that the Antichrist is kicking around and trying to take over Earth. If you want to go down the religious rabbit hole,
Yeah. I mean,
a part of the agenda.
that,
A part of the agenda. We spoke about this before. Remember? It's
2 seconds. The satanic rituals that went on at the Super Bowl and
I think it was like the Logies or something like that.
yeah,
That Sam
the Golden Globes,
Golden Globes. Yeah.
all the satanic rituals that went down last year at the major events.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to, be a rocket surgeon.
So here's
right?
the thing: you don't have to believe in God, and you don't have to believe in Satan to be affected by people in control who do.
The thing, and it's we know when we do the work, right? Is it's all about energy, man. So if a whole bunch of people are giving energy to a cross, or some dude hanging on a cross, right? That thing has power because of the amount of energy that is pushed
No different
in its
from money.
direction. Absolutely, man.
Money has power because we give it power.
We give it power. It means nothing. It's bits of plastic basically, and it means less than nothing now. It's just numbers in a computer. However, when we give power and energy to things, and this is the other thing, dude. Like, you want to talk about the materialistic global cabal, pharmaceutical, technological.
Can you say that 10 times really quick?
Pharmaceutical, technological, military,
No, the whole
industrial
thing.
complex. Yeah, man. No, I can't.
Not even close.
I'm just not going to even try. There is the 3D level pharmaceutical, military, technological, industrial complexes, right? Oh, by the way, we're there's enough chatter in the background of all the groups that we general intelligence is we basically created AI, and
Why do you think there's underground bunkers going up?
Exactly. We basically,
once again, you can fact check.
Yeah,
15 billionaires built bunkers in the last year.
That's right.
And the Simpsons predicted a massive solar flare in 2024.
Yeah, man.
And Homer goes underground just like the billionaires do.
Yeah.
And now there's like 15 fucking bunkers that have been built.
Yep. And you can, dude. The Simpsons is an interesting one. Is Matt groaning from the future, or does he just take a lot of mushrooms, man? You know what I mean? Like,
He's a 33rd degree Mason.
so is everybody else. Where on the timeline?
So am I.
Well, I could be, but I choose not to be. My grandfather was. I could walk into a Mason, become a Mason, like that, if I wanted to.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, I'll be honest with you. I've got some Masonic documents, and I can show you later if you like. They're pretty cool. My granddad's medals, Masonic medals and stuff, man. It's fucking pretty cool shit. I had a lengthy discussion with a Mason about the research that I do here with the podcast and the work that I like to do, digging into the rabbit holes and all that sort of stuff. And he basically said to me, he's like, mate, you could join because your grandfather, you could automatically join, and we would love to have you. However, you couldn't talk about it.
Mm.
You would have to give up your research.
Mm.
And look,
Who rigs every Oscars night? We
we do. Look,
I would love
The
to see. I would
Masons-
love to see you in the boulder of shame. Only to have it removed for the boulder of triumph.
the thing is, man, I think the Masons were something else. But like we've just had this discussion, power corrupts, right? When you hold knowledge is power. However, it's nothing if it isn't shared. But when you hold knowledge, when you hold a certain set of secrets, look, unfortunately, the human man is a very flawed beast, right? We are susceptible to power and greed, and especially if we're unhealed, right? Because we're having a bit of a laugh before we start about Trifco, right?
So let me bring everybody up to speed. So I watched Back to the Future
we're
1
talking
and
back
2.
to instead of Biffco, it could be Trifco.
Biffco.
Yeah, so we have Trifco. If there was such a thing as Trifco, we'd be building UFOs. Just saying.
You're behind the times, mate. Lockheed's already beat you to the punch.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Fine, I'll just give you a generator that powers your home perpetually. Don't worry about solar or anything.
Yeah, that ended well for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other blokes had figured that out. They're doing real well. They shoot him. They're so talented that they shoot themselves in the back of the head twice.
Oh, yeah. Suicide, 2 shots to the back of the head.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or they crash into the only tree in a 10-kilometre radius. There's one tree.
Yeah.
Bang, straight into it. You wouldn't read about it, man.
Or they give up their life of inventing because they won lotto and suddenly have $30 million in the bank.
Yeah.
What happened to you? I won lotto.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Don't ask me anything.
Yeah. Don't say anything. Don't talk about it. Do you know what's the funniest thing? Because obviously we're the generation. We were the Fight Club generation, right? The first rule of Fight Clubs, we don't talk about Fight Club. When we talk about cognitive dissonance, and look, we're just laughing along about some of the darkest stuff.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Exactly, man. There's so many Fight Clubs that we can't talk about, and I wonder whether that's part of the plan. Oh, that's what I was getting to. You've got the three-dimensional aspect of this, right? But I think if we follow the spiritual aspect of this and the interdimensional larger aspect of this, there is,
whatever's going on, whether it's spiritual or religious, it's been going on long before we got here.
And it's the dark versus the light, man.
It's been going on for a very long time, and I think for whatever reason, we're actually at a very fortunate period in time because I feel like we're probably at the culmination point of that.
We are witnessing either way.
Do you believe we're witnessing the end? Do you think we're witnessing the end, or do you think we're witnessing the ushering in of a new era? And if so, is it going to be utopian or dystopian in the end?
It has to be dystopian before it becomes anywhere near utopian.
I agree.
They're not going to let go without a fight. They've tried to talk us into how many wars now? How did you... And talk about the Netflix show. The US gave, I don't know how many billions we gave to the Ukraine, but we've given the Ukraine billions, and he's a comedian that used to dress up in ladies' clothing and blackface.
It's called money laundering.
Yes, yes.
Call it what it is.
But you know what's hilarious?
Let's give them $1 trillion in aid. Can you wash this for me? And give it back to me?
I just do this on the side. It's okay. Shh. But do you know what?
Hey, Triff, can I have a look at your $1 trillion bill?
Yeah, exactly. $1 trillion bill. But do you know what's even funnier? Not really. Is that we provoked the biggest gangster in the world, and Russia's basically activated itself as a military power now because everyone thinks a man is a woman and they can get pregnant. We provoked the world's biggest gangster, and he's currently wiping the floor with Ukraine. Just wiping the floor. Because that's... And the thing is, dude, I did episode 200 a little while ago, and the boys from America were asking me about Russia. I'm like, look, these books aren't here for show, brother. You know what I mean? There's a few World War books here. I've studied Russian military because they're fascinating, dude. Number one, they're hard as fuck. Like, are you serious?
Yes, they are.
Listen, I don't want to go up against the Russians, okay? However, every war that they've been in, they make a breakfast of it, right? They mess it up for like the first 12, 18 months.
All brawn, no brain.
Yeah, just nothing's working. But then I'm not talking about just World War II. I'm talking about World War I. I'm talking about the Prussian wars. I'm talking about every single war that that area has been involved in.
You're more versed in this than me, but if I'm not mistaken, they're basically, I believe the term is a bull in a china shop.
Yeah,
it's like we're just going to take over and just attack with absolutely everything.
Yeah,
full frontal attack.
And then it doesn't work, right? And they get pushed back, and then they lose some tanks because they get excited, man. You know what I mean? But then they get their shit together and they just wipe the floor with you because they don't care. They will continue. They will just inch forward with their tanks and their artillery. And the Russians are very, very good at electronic warfare, man. Right? They always have been. Electronics is Russia's thing, dude.
Better than China?
Better than China.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, the Russians invented this stuff, right? The Chinese obviously bought it and copied it, right? But if the conflicting, you notice you don't hear anything about the Ukraine anymore.
I actually don't watch any mainstream media at all.
I don't watch any mainstream media, but even on Facebook, you don't see anything about it anymore.
That's because it's not the thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is Israel still a thing?
Yeah.
Is that the thing?
I don't know. Well, the thing is that Israel considered northern Gaza cleansed, which means they just leveled it, right? And how many children and women did they kill in that? It doesn't matter, though,
I stopped tracking it all.
Yeah.
Well, the thing last time I checked, Israel was the thing, but I don't know anything about it.
It's not, because it's quite clear they're just demolishing everything. You know what I mean? And they're killing as many women and children as everybody else is. You know what I mean? It's like there is no... I don't know whether there is good and evil anymore, right? Or good side and a bad side, especially...
What if it's just all profiting?
It's just a military-industrial complex, man.
It's just profiting and moving money around. What if that's all it is?
Yeah. Well, there's a 200 billion, I can't remember the numbers, but there's an X amount of billion contract in place to rebuild Ukraine. So they've just taken their finger off the button. No, don't worry about it. We'll rebuild it once it's done.
You ever see that movie, All the Money in the World? Got Mark Wahlberg and I'm trying to think of the old dude. It's based on a true story about a billionaire. He's one of the 13 families actually, and his grandson got kidnapped and he refused to pay the ransom even though he was like a billionaire. It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in the end. So Mark Wahlberg was an investigator hired to get this oligarch's grandson back without paying. And in the end, so this dude, at the point in time, he was the richest man on it. I'll find out who it is, and I'll...
Doesn't matter, dude.
The act was Christopher Plummer.
You are not going to remember to do any of the stuff you've spoken about, and it's okay.
I will when I listen to this.
You're going to get a
Mark
frantic
Wahlberg,
email from Neil. Here, put this in the comments.
And it'll be at 3 a.m. too. So Mark Wahlberg looks at me and goes, "You are the richest man in the world. You have more money than any other person in the history of time. How much more do you want?"
Yeah.
And his answer was, more.
More. You know, I saw...
More. That was his answer.
Do you know, look, as much as I would like to have more resources, you know what I mean? I'm not against money. I saw a very dark thing, when I was anyway, it doesn't matter about that. Long story short, I knew a guy who may or may not have acquired $1 million through business dealings. Some legitimately, some illegitimately. Just it's a blurry line. Don't worry about it.
In the grey zone.
In the grey zone.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, he made $1 million. And I, in my mind, because I may or may not have assisted with that acquirement, and I said, "Are you going to do something? Are you going to have a holiday, or you just got to 7 figures?" And he's like, "No, I need more. What is that, dude? I don't necessarily have that with the money thing.
I want less.
Yeah. Well, less is more, dude.
I want less.
The thing is, dude, is it here's something.
And when I say I want less, I know there'll be people like, "What do you mean you want less?" I want to live a simple life. My idea of being rich is I'd like to be able to do the shopping without having to check my fucking bank account.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And I would love to be able to literally, I just don't want to have to look at my bank account.
Yeah.
That's rich. If I can get through cost of living and have enough to go out and do fun stuff with my family, maybe a holiday a year, that's me. That's rich. If it gives me enough to live a simple life and to live a life filled with love and laughs with my family, then that's literally all I want and need. Anything more than that gets complicated.
Right. Absolutely, totally agree with you.
But I feel like there's a but coming, Triff.
No, there's no but. The problem is,
the
problem is that they are this thing that's happening. They are pushing men like us who that's all we want. Right? We're going to put a little...
We're the William Wallaces.
Well, no.
We just want to live in peace.
Exactly, man. Well, it's true, dude.
That's actually, you know what? That clip. The men who just want...
Be left alone.
Left alone. William Wallace just wanted to be fucking left alone.
Just leave me alone, man.
I just want to raise crops and kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Just leave me alone. And I think the problem is, when I say to you, they're facing more resistance than they thought. And you're right. And these people are that egocentric, they probably don't care. But the problem is, if they keep pushing us, they're going to care. You know what I mean? Because they're going to wake up a lot of people. And, I've always said about, it's like how the Australian military is only very small for the island that we defend. It used to be, I don't know about now, right? It's a different world now. But there's a certain section of the Australian populace, and obviously you served. However, if you come to my back door, you better be ready. Because if you don't make me get up off the couch... Right? I want to be left alone, okay? Because, and I think the thing is, what's funny with us, if it does go down like that, is that we're healed, man. It's all with love, brother. But go away, please go away. Don't do it. Well, you did it now.
Oh, now you've done it.
Now you've done it. Now
I've got to get out of my chair. I'm going to have to get angry because I've still got that part of me inside of me.
Yeah. The beast inside me is sleeping, not dead, okay? Just be cool. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. And I think what's happening is what's interesting, so people like us who didn't comply, we don't have to get angry because there's a whole bunch of people that they poisoned that their friends are sick and dying and they've woken up or they're sick and dying, let's be honest, they're going to do our work. We don't have to do shit, right? Because we didn't...
How many followers you got?
Oh, it depends, man.
I want to throw something random out.
Go for it.
for any of the followers who feel called, chuck this podcast up on your social media, and I want you to post how many people you know are sick or dying or dead.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just track it. See if a few people, if you don't want to, like, you don't have to, but I know, so I do men's groups, and it's come up from time to time. It's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
I know, well, I've spoken about my circle, people in my circle, and I'm not going to bring it up here out of respect for those people, but it's a lot.
There's multiple people.
A lot.
Circles within circles. Yeah.
So I'd be interested
At least 3 deaths we know, we're pretty sure, circles within circles, my end.
Yeah.
At least 3.
Yep. It's, and the number's growing the more people I meet.
Absolutely.
Are you finding that more people like yourself, like me, are gravitating to you now? Like, are you finding that circles are forming? And each of those circles brings stories of why they ended up in that circle. And a lot of the time it's, well, for some people, like the people who are joining the circles now, it's, I got really sick, or somebody I know got really sick and died.
Yeah.
And that's what so a lot of people who were previously
with the narrative
are now joining our circles. And what they're saying is, I was in the narrative until
I saw it.
Until I saw it.
Right.
Until
once you see, you can't unsee.
That person died. This person's sick. I got sick. Yeah.
So did the vaccine work? I think it did. I think it did.
Yeah.
Right? I think it did work for what it was intended. And, how is it that, let's go back to the chaos, right? One 77-year-old man died with COVID. We must lock down for 2 weeks. Thousands, right? There's only max 31 days in a month, right? So it's something like an extra, last time I looked, 3,000 or 4,000 a month people are dying in Australia. How many is that every second? Okay. Now, again,
are you talking about above
the average?
So above the average?
Above the average.
Yeah.
Above the average.
Yep.
So there's a work shortage. There's a manual labour shortage across multiple industries.
Yes, actually, that's a great point, because I've got friends in trades, I've got friends in the mines, I've got friends in
they're dead. That's dark to say. However, explain it to me otherwise.
17% above
all-cause mortality.
Above normal.
But we were locked down because and that's just, it's all in the past now. However, the average age of death was still...
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Your tinfoil hat wearer. The average age of death with COVID was still past the average age of life expectancy. Right? That's what it was, man. Start to finish. It never went down. It never got
and
point.
Don't forget the COVID,
it was always 99.99% survival rate.
Don't forget the COVID infected bullets. When people got shot and died, they had COVID. So
look, if you fell off a building, man,
if you got eaten by a shark, the shark had COVID as well.
If your parachute failed, you must have had COVID, man. It's terrible. And this is I understand.
It was hard to watch because people actually... we laugh at it. We sit here and laugh at it, but it was actually really hard to watch because you tried to make a joke about it...
Oh, yeah.
You got crucified.
Yeah.
Well, I did anyway. I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
I got crucified.
Yeah.
For making jokes about things like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, man, that's...
Probably still going to.
Mass formation psychosis, dude. No, I don't think anymore, right? So it's something like I saw the stats that only 5% of the population took up the latest booster, which I think is number 8. 6,
I
8.
saw. I don't know, but I saw a poster for something about the 8th wave or something like that.
So it's number 8 or 7 number of shots that they've asked you to take. Only 5% of the population supposedly have taken it.
Why'd you stop? I'm just curious. Why did you all stop?
Yeah. Are you all anti-vaxxers now? Is that what we're saying?
So here's a question, right? So we know that, I think, and I don't quote me, I'd have to check, but I believe it's like 95% of people got 1 or 2.
Yeah,
it was high up.
Something like that.
It was high up.
If you believe those numbers, man, I don't know.
I don't know who
I'm
makes
not
numbers.
sure how accurate those numbers are, to be honest.
So let's say the narrative is true, and I'll say 90%.
90%.
Let's say 90% got 2 jabbed. And then there was a massive drop-off
for the 3,
but it was still big. It was still north of 70%, I think.
Yeah, north of 70%.
I think it was north of 70%.
But after that, it just
plummeted. The fourth, it dropped to again,
40
I'm trying
or 30
to pluck
or something like that.
I was thinking 40 again, and we'll pull all these numbers to fact-check ourselves because I actually like to be accurate.
We're okay.
We're okay. But then it got to the 5th, and it was No.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you're a hardcore believer that we're wrong, why did you stop taking the vaccines after the 5th or the 4th?
You're an anti-vaxxer.
Or the 3rd.
That's
Are you an anti?
you're
If
an
you're
anti-vaxxer,
refusing,
man.
if you're refusing to take your 5th, your 6th, your 7th, your 8th, why aren't you taking it? Is it because you're an anti-vaxxer?
Exactly. Look, you know
what? We poke, but for me, a big part of this is reminding myself that everybody's on their own journey.
Oh, look, love is still the answer, man.
It's 100%.
However, look, the thing is, dude, if anything that we've said tonight has provoked you, right, then you need to analyse that within yourself.
Boom. Ask why. Why
Yeah.
does it trigger me?
Why?
100%.
Ask yourself why. Right, because that's.
And you know what? I'm open for a counterpoint of view. Like, honestly, if somebody has, like, a really good counterpoint of view or a counter-argument...
I would be shocked if in 2024... Is that where we are? 24?
We are.
We are.
Happy New Year's, mate.
Happy New Year, dude. I don't remember. How sedate was New Year's, by the way?
I had an amazing New Year's, dude. You know what? For the first time, off topic,
I had
everybody,
a great New Year's.
I had an amazing Christmas
I had a
and an
great
amazing
New
New Year's, which is really odd because I hate Christmas. I'm the Grinch. But
You
I've
are,
got-
that's right, you are.
But I
Grinch.
hate Christmas and I hate December. It's a long-standing tradition for me. Yeah. However, I have an amazing partner.
I was going to say, you got a beautiful lady in your
who
life. She
is
made it worthwhile.
mate? She is practically Mrs. Claus. I actually call her Mrs. Claus for all of December. And I had a bit of resistance at first, but eventually I just sort of loosened my
You gotta
tyrant.
go with it. You gotta go with
I
it,
released
man.
my tyrant grip and just let her like Christmas it up. And you know what?
You had a great time.
She slayed it.
She slayed it.
Slayed it. She slayed it, mate. Kids, me, Michaela, amazing time. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, killed it.
Awesome, dude. Well, in 2024, I would be very, very, very surprised if we would be able to come up with anybody who'd be against. How could you even form a counter narrative against COVID and the vaccines now?
I don't know. I'd be keen to hear it though. I'd be keen to hear it. I would, honestly. Disco ball, mate. Disco mirror.
Oh, look. The thing is,
Your analogy. I'm stealing it.
No, go for it, dude.
Yeah.
It-
I'd be keen to
The
hear.
actual analogy is, right, so you start with a blank disco ball, okay?
Yep.
And your job is to collect as many tiles to put on that ball
So you can see the whole dance.
so you can see the whole perspective, man. Every single perspective you collect, good, bad, ugly, weird, it's a tile on the mirror ball, man. Right? So then when something happens to you, you can then draw on those perspectives.
You know what I really want from this podcast? I want feedback. Like, literally, I want feedback from, like, listeners as to their personal experience. Share your journey. Like, I would
Yeah.
actually love to hear.
That'd
This
be
is
cool.
great. This is great reach because I want to hear different people's journeys on either side of the fence.
Mm.
And I don't want people to be dicks about it and argue about it in the comments. I want everybody to be respectful
Yeah.
because I genuinely want to hear, what do you think's going on in the world? I'd love to hear that because it could be fucking anything.
It could be anything, man.
And I'd love to hear it.
Well, like I said, yeah.
Pro-vax, anti-vax. I want to hear it. Lost people. I want to hear people's, like, this is a great way because, you know, I've got my little message groups, but I'd love to hear from the general public.
Yeah. Well, the other thing...
What's true for them? Because remember we spoke at the beginning of this. What was one of our core values for this podcast?
Yeah, our intentions were meaningful fucks. And I think I might have to do a little bit of editing. We got away from ourselves at the start, but we pulled
I
ourselves
actually
back.
screwed that up in the first
Yeah,
5
I know.
seconds.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. No, you won't hear it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Meaningful fuck. So using fuck for good purpose and good
Yeah,
intent, not
yeah.
just throwing it around.
Well, the thing is that it becomes a joining word.
It becomes an idiosyncrasy.
Yeah, in the Australian dialect, it becomes
Yeah.
a joining word. Well, the key was gentlemen warriors don't have to swear.
Correct.
We can.
I've sworn a bit, but I've done a lot better than I would. But anyway,
Yeah,
moving on.
I know. We've done okay.
Second one was truth.
Truth. Yeah.
So for me, I wanted this podcast to be about my truth,
Mm.
and I acknowledge that truth is subjective. My truth is not the truth, and my truth is not your truth, and my truth isn't somebody else's truth, but it's
Yes.
true for me.
However-
and I wanted to stay true to what's true for me.
Absolutely, and I think we've done that very well. However, do you think, while we're talking about truth, because the critical thinking, we talked about critical thinking earlier, analysing truth, my experience as a teacher, so like somewhere in the last year, towards the end of last year, I surpassed 11,000 students
Yeah, right.
that I've taught over the years. Multiple qualifications.
Sensei.
Right? I think that there is a set of objective moral truths.
Oh
That
man, you're going down a deep philosophical rabbit hole
that
here.
majority of the human populace would agree to. I think there is. It's like, I reckon this is my lens, right? Understand that out of 11,000 people, there's every colour, every creed, every religion, every version of the human rainbow you can understand. I've had it through my classrooms. All of them. Every single, think at any country, name a country, I've had a student from there, okay?
Does every single one of those 11,000 people know you wear a tinfoil hat on your podcast?
Look, I broke my tinfoil hat cherry tonight. I've never actually worn a tinfoil hat till tonight.
It was actually really comfortable. I'm going to buy a lead line hat just for fun.
Look, if it was cooler, I think if it was winter, it'd be better.
It would not go well in the heat.
Because the thing is, if there's a hum in the background, guys, the aircon's on in the refinery because it's hot outside.
You are correct.
Yeah.
What was our third...
No, the question was, do you think there's I don't want to go...
Do I think that there is universal truth?
Yes.
Yeah, of course there is.
Okay, good.
Yeah. 100%.
So there was truth, then there was flow.
Flow, correct.
Right? And then there
Don't try to steer it.
Yeah, don't try to steer, which we haven't, man. Right?
Respect was the last one.
Was the last one. Because the thing is, regardless of...
We want to be able to have a conversation...
Yeah.
Without an argument. And we're talking about this now. That's gone now. If we're on different sides of the fence... People, it's like, I need to be right and I need you to agree with me.
Yeah.
And that's become a thing now. And the art of critical thinking and the art of conversation, it's slowly disappearing because people can't have a conversation.
And do you know what happened, right, is that prior to the beer virus, podcasts were exploding, but it was indie long-form podcasts that, dudes like us having conversation, right?
Sean Ryan Show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. However, what happened during COVID is all the celebrities got a podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. My dog's probably got a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality, yeah?
Yep.
I mean, I think there was a Black Dog podcast for a second, too, for a while, wasn't there?
I think I had about 12 or 13 episodes out. They were good episodes, eh? They're still out there somewhere.
I'm on one, I'm pretty sure.
You are? Dan's on one as well.
Yeah.
So, Dan, when you come and join us next time around?
We'll get a tripod going. However, they didn't. Has changed. Podcasting has changed. The way that social media has been manipulated through COVID, through the propaganda that was COVID, and then
it's censored.
It's censored. However, podcasting is the art of conversation, right? Which is why I'm not. I've done a fair few different things, different ways how to do this. This is episode 200, and I don't even know how many. 12, 14, 13,
That's good, but
15.
It's no 12 podcasts, mate.
Yeah.
Get your game up.
Do you know what's interesting? You said 12 podcasts.
Yeah.
The statistic is that 90% of podcasts fail before episode 13.
There you go.
Boom.
I'm a statistic.
You're a statistic.
Always knew it.
Yeah.
It's no shocks.
Yeah. But, yeah, look, it's conversations like these, right? And, look, the idea that you've had a few people from your circles and I've had a few people from my circles basically say they wanted a conversation like this, right?
You've actually been on me for a while now to get out to the refinery.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you want to come out here, mate?
It's my second home.
Look, I think the thing is, for me, I was in, how do I put this, self-imposed isolation, right?
Is this when you were going through your dark triff?
Yeah, well, you know me the last few years, man. We took 14 grams of St. John's mushrooms together. And
that was a big night.
It was a big night.
That was a very.
I talked to trees that night.
That was for people listening. That was the night I had. What was it? Let's call it a demon, an entity.
Yeah.
Removed from me in the middle of the plant medicine ceremony. If you think I'm bullshitting, there were 6 other men in there.
That's happened, dude.
Windows were slamming, sliding doors were opening and shutting, and candles were blowing out.
And we had to hold the energy, man. Yeah,
that was crazy. That happened.
It was a crazy little period during that journey. I talked to trees that night. It was cool. Yeah, a full-on conversation with trees. Yeah, man. At the end of the day, the one thing that we do know is we know nothing, right? I know that I know nothing. Doesn't matter.
Settle down, Jon Snow.
Yeah. I know nothing, Jon Snow. No, but that. When did you have? Here's a question. When did you have that epiphany that you don't know anything? Do you remember the moment? I remember the moment. I remember my moment.
I didn't have an epiphany that I know nothing. I had an epiphany that it doesn't matter how much I know.
Okay, so different versions.
So
different ones, yeah.
I know quite a bit. I know lots of different things and stuff. I'm a
Oh, look,
I'm a big reader. I'm a big
Yeah.
studier. I study. I listen to lots of different podcasts. I study
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different things. I've got I've got like 6 or 7 different diplomas and advanced diplomas because I enjoy studying things and stuff. And it got to a point deep down the rabbit hole, and I sometimes say to people, I went so far down the rabbit hole, I think I actually come out the other side. And then it's when I come out the other side, I realise that
Well, there is no spoon, dude.
there is no spoon. I realise that it doesn't matter how much I know.
Right.
What's going to happen is going to happen because it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
And I focus on my journey and my family. And that's it. That's what it boils down to for me. I still track everything that's going on. I dip my head in the rabbit hole every once in a while, and I've got to be careful not to trip over and fall in. And the more I hang out with you, the harder it gets.
Oh, come on, that's not very nice.
But you know what? I'm in a good place. The world's on fire, but I'm in a good place, and I'm excited. And I'm excited for the future with my family.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
actually
Man.
am.
That's good, dude. I'm in a good place as well. Actually, I'm
And I've got popcorn for the show.
Yeah, got popcorn for the show because it is a show, dude. I mean, do you know what I don't think people want to realise? Okay, is that it's not that everything's bullshit, man. You know what I mean? It's
Just watch the show.
it's all bullshit.
Just watch the show.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, Triff, something real important.
What's that?
I've got to take a leak, man.
Do you?
I do.
Or do you want to finish?
All right, how close are we? What is there any rabbit holes you want to throw
Mate,
out?
there's 4,000 rabbit holes. I was going to talk about the UFOs. The fact that
I think we'll save that one for a different one. Let's keep this earthbound.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep it earthbound.
It was all right. Well, I don't even know how long we've gone for, but final statements.
It's been a while. Final statements.
Uh,
Closing statements, Your Honour.
Closing statements, please, Your Honour. Look, whatever's going on is so big and so. However,
That's what makes it hard to believe. That's
is
why
hard to
people
believe.
don't believe, because it's too much to take in, especially
is.
in one hit.
it is. However, do you know what one of my favourite memes of 2023 was?
Oh, here we go.
What can I do? I'm only one person, said 7 billion people. Right?
Oof, I haven't heard that one.
I'm only one person. What can I do? Said 7 billion people.
I think we're down to 6 billion.
Yeah, they're chopping it down every month. But
By 2050, that meme will be said 100 million people.
yeah, agenda by 2030. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, don't worry. You'll own nothing, but you'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. You will own the nothing. Actually, do you
You
know
will
what's-
eat the bugs.
You eat the bugs and you own nothing.
Closing thoughts. Stay focused. Stay
No,
focused,
no,
Triff.
you
We're
got-
so close.
You got to they talk about the TV show. It's like, oh, the supervillain wouldn't talk in a German accent and wear weird outfits. You know what I mean? Like in the movies.
I rest my case. You're actually making my case for
I
me.
know, dude.
There you go, yeah.
Do you know he had a bit of a whinge? Do you know Klaus had a whinge the other day?
Oh, did he?
He's
What
like,
happened to poor Klaus?
people are turning against the elites. Yeah, we are, motherfucker, because we know what you're doing, right? We don't care anymore. Whatever. And I'm not eating bugs, okay? Go away.
Triff, why do you have red dots on your chest?
Yeah.
Closing thoughts or closing remarks. Do
Um,
you want a thinker? I think I've got mine. If you want to have a thinker,
yeah. I'll take the last word.
all right. And rightfully so. Your podcast. Last word for Triff. All right. Closing thoughts. The only thing that actually matters in the world right now, literally the only thing that matters, is love, gratitude, and survival.
That's very true.
Look after yourself. Be an excellent person, or the best person that you can be. Do the work on yourself. Never stop doing the work on yourself. Encourage others to do the work. Have conversations, not arguments. Have conversations, and just be a good person. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Protect your family. If you're a man, be a man. Protect your family.
Yes.
And fuck your pronouns. Oh, I just got us cancelled. I'm sorry.
That doesn't matter. Yeah, okay.
You've got books.
I've got books.
You've got books. I
Yeah,
feel
this is,
a very poignant closing remark.
Well, no. Well, these are Bodie Sanders' books, and he's an excellent dude, and I'll probably get him back on the show this year. Closing remarks. I said in the last podcast that the show's over, or it might be over. Show's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over.
It was never over.
It was never over. This is only beginning, and look, the first piece of gratitude I have is for you, Neil. Thank you very much for coming out here tonight and
100% reciprocated, brother.
Jumping down the rabbit hole with me. And you know, me and Neil know quite a lot about each other behind the scenes, and you're a brother of mine, and I really appreciate that, man. You made tonight fun, and I needed to re-engage this year with the show in a fun way.
I've had a ball, man.
And it's great. We've talked about some dark stuff, however...
It's all funny.
You got to laugh, man.
It's all a show. Get your popcorn.
You got to laugh. And look, I think I can't really... You did put it very well. Love is the answer, guys. Right? I think what I would like everybody to do is take a big, deep breath and remember who the fuck you are.
Is that from Moana?
We are the 99%. We are. Okay? The reason the Romans created the bread and the circuses is they were concerned that they would be overthrown if they didn't distract us. Now, if you extrapolate that, you can see exactly what's going on. However, like Neil said, you can only affect what is around you, right? And I had a bit of an epiphany, a big part of my journey. Once you realise that you are crazy, right? And look, that could be anger, fear, guilt, hate. I mean, if you have those dark emotions that still rule your existence, that's not right, okay? And it is you, unfortunately, because it is me and it is you too, brother. You know that.
Yin yang.
However, the dark can't exist without light. Don't banish it because you must sit with it. However...
You might need that dark someday
exactly,
soon.
dude. The beast inside me is sleeping. The full one that I like. Never mistake my kindness for weakness. The beast inside me is sleeping, not dead.
Correct.
Right? But on the path of the warrior gentleman, which we do try to adhere to, right? And the thing is, brother, I know you practice what you preach, and you know I practice what I preach.
Yes.
It's difficult, and we fuck it up all the time. However, doesn't mean we don't practice what we preach, okay? Remember who you are.
Mufasa. That's who said that.
Remember who you are. Remember you are the dark in the light, by the way. Sorry. Fuck that up. You are the light in the dark, right? If you're in a dark moment right now, I want you to remember and breathe and remember you are the light in that darkness. Okay, you're not alone in the dark. You are the light in the darkness. And it'll be okay, and you'll find your way through. However, you got to sit with it. We need to remember who we are. There is many, many, many more things that bring us together than separate us. And fear and control and divide and conquer are the oldest methods for controlling the human population. And you can choose not to. Right? You have that choice. However, we're going to need to let go of a lot of bullshit. The only way forward is through and together. However, in order to get to that place, we need to let go of a lot of stuff. Everything that you thought, colour, creed, religion, lines on a map, all that stuff, it is all bullshit.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon. There is us. There is me. There is you. There is the awesome coders out there. And that is it. And you must prepare. Okay? Mind, body, soul. And love is the answer. Now, what we're going to do to finish is Bodhi Sanders, excellent author. And I'm going to close my eyes. You can confirm that I'm closing my eyes.
I can confirm that your eyes are closed.
So I'm going to... This is the throwback, man. We used to do this.
I like where this is going. So basically, I'll narrate here for you. So what's the name of that book, brother?
The book is called The Warrior Lifestyle, or Making Your Life Extraordinary by Bodhi Sanders.
So Triff's going to shut his eyes, and he's just flicking for a random page, and I'm guessing he's going to drop his finger on a random spot. There'll be some sort of profound statement coming our way.
That's it. This book, man. So the quote we're going to read first is from Marcus Aurelius. I do what is mine to do. The rest does not disturb me. I think we need to read this.
Wow.
No shit, man.
Wow.
Isn't that mind-blowing? You only have control over one thing, yourself. You control your thoughts, your attitude, and your actions, and this is exactly where your focus should be. Do the best you can where these things are involved and don't be disturbed by the actions, attitudes, or behaviours of others. You are not responsible for what other people do. You are only responsible for what you do. Too many people want to take ownership for the acts of others, but each person is ultimately responsible for his or her own actions. Do your best to be the best person that you can be and let the chips fall where they may. Once you have done your duty to the best of your ability, don't be upset if the outcome does not come out exactly as you had hoped. Simply know that in your heart that you did the best that you could given the circumstances. You acted in the moment to the best of your ability and made the best decisions that you could. What more is there? This is the way of the warrior. If a man or a woman, because by the way, woman warriors existed. We didn't talk about the sacred feminine. Can we talk about that another time?
We can do that another time.
Yeah, because, you know. If a man man or woman does what it is them to do and does it to the best of his or her capability, they have fulfilled their duty. Moment by moment, day by day, this is all that any person can do. Being upset or stressed about things over which you have no control is a waste of time. Only think about such things when you can do something to change the situation. If the situation cannot be changed, what good does it to ponder it? Be rational and concentrate on what you can do, then do it. And the other one, Gandhi. Man lives freely only by his readiness to die.
Boos. So
if it comes down to it, it's okay. What did you say? Whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen, and it's going to happen, so it doesn't matter. Right?
If it happened, it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Dude. How crazy is that? And the thing is, guys, what I wanted to say, I want to get this thought out, because this is my epiphany. Once you realise you are crazy, it is then your responsibility not to be crazy, because crazy people don't think that they're crazy. Right? Once you recognise that, it is then your responsibility, because you can no longer deny. Right?
I've questioned my sanity so many times
absolutely,
over the last few years.
Yeah, I know, dude. Big red rubber stamp, right?
I'm saying now, why won't you come on?
Well, man, I don't know. I think Bodie wrapped it up. I don't think we can do any more to that. Thank you very much, brother. Always a pleasure. Brother. Much love. We're too far away. I'll give you a hug when we get up.
Love your work, brother.
Love you too, man. And love to everybody else. Love is the answer, guys. Remember that. Okay, that's it. Right?
Wait. Stay cool. Be safe. Engage discipline.
Hey? And we'll talk soon.
I've listened to the show before.
Yeah. And we'll talk soon.
Love you, bro.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Just want to go again?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Go again.
All right. I know you been here before. No surprises settle the score. I know the darkness deep inside. Reckless rage, poison pride. I know the anger, I know the pain, and I know the fear we do not name. And the one who comes to find me when my time is through, I know you, I know you. Wow! I know you. Better.